Let's begin with this. Tensions are high in Niger after the presidential guards held Niger President Mohamed Bazoum inside his palace in the capital, Niamey. The presidency in that country said the guards had started an anti-republican movement in vain and that Bazoum was well. The office of the president says the National Army was ready to attack them if the presidential guard don't stop their action. The statement followed reports that presidential guards had cut access to the presidential palace and blocked Bazoum inside, raising concern that the West Africa's sixth coup since 2020 could well be underway. SABC International news editor Sophie Mokoena earlier spoke to the U.S. African Command Brigadier General Rose Karivori about this particular issue. Sophie, thank you so much for your time. The West Africa region is experiencing political instability. What could be the main reason?
Well, you know that it has been a problem where you have the insurgents in that country, and therefore you find that when there are internal conflict within the nation itself, then you have these people who will be taking sides, and therefore that creates a better environment for such activities. Secondly, the issue of climate change. You know, the movement of people in the Sahel region has also contributed towards this instability that we see. And therefore, countries such as Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea-Conakry earlier experienced these kind of actions. But the Americans who are assisting with a command called AFRICOM, these are different activities within the continent. You do have such activities in the south, in the west, and in the east, are trying to assist the Sahel region and West Africa in particular to try and fight these insurgents. Earlier on, I spoke to the director of AFRICOM, who is based in Geneva, in Germany, but he is in the country currently, and he will be going to Mozambique, where he's going to look at the situation in Cabo Delgado about the challenges facing Africa in relation to peace and stability, but these pockets of insurgents in different parts of the world, and particularly in Africa. And she spoke about the situation in West Africa in particular. Let's take a listen.
And right now I'm thinking of West Africa in particular. And as we look at the spread of the Al-Qaeda affiliate, JNM, it's very concerning. It started in northern Mali and is now spreading into Burkina Faso and will likely spread further. And so what we like to do at AFRICOM is to visit those governments and the security forces and help them, assist them with what does a counter-VEO, violent extremist organization, strategy look like. And it is not just a defense or military solution, and I think that's very important. So when someone asks us, well, what is the role of Africa Command? I say it's bringing whole of government and bringing regional solutions to our African partners when asked.
Well, clearly they're pointing out that they do it when countries have made such a request. It was earlier before we had the news of this action in Niger, but you can hear that there are challenges in West Africa, and therefore AFRICOM saying that they are assisting. But of course, many Africans really don't agree with activities of the Americans, particularly the military on the continent. But there you have it, you have a challenge in Niger.
And what else do we know about the situation in Niger? Where is the president currently? Is he safe?
We are told that the president is at his house, the presidential house, and we are told that these presidential guard, these are people who are supposed to protect the president. They did give him a letter asking him to sign the resignation letter, and he did refuse, and therefore the standoff continue. And what we are told is that the military has threatened to really attack these presidential guards, and therefore there's fear. We saw the ECOWAS, the regional body, the chairperson being the president of Nigeria, issuing a statement, a very strong statement, saying that ECOWAS will not support this action and they support the current president. We also saw a statement from the African Union Commission Chair, who is currently in Russia attending the Russia-Africa Summit, issuing a similar statement calling on these presidential guards to go back to the barracks and therefore calling for peace. But it looks like they are not really responding positively to these messages, and therefore the situation is still very, very tense.
And it does, sound like things are really quite a worry there, big concern, as some are even saying that, there's even areas that are now beginning to resemble ghost towns around even your concerns the safety of the president. But let's continue to monitor this development and see what then happens on the ground with this particular one. That's our SABC News International editor, Sophie Mokoena, bringing us the very latest in Niger. We'll continue to bring you more on this particular story as a lot of concern is mounting around what is happening there.